have a little bit of control, but not like all of it. Because you guys are like, oh, you have to do this now and that later, and then do all of this now, and then all that stuff. But give us like one thing at a time, or we will be like.
And I'm making this connection as you're saying this, and you put it together for me. Because as you're saying and mocking again, was that also my voice, or was that Daddy's voice? Whose voice was that? You need to do this now. Whose voice was that?
It was just
a general adult voice.
Yeah.
But as you were saying this thing, I felt the sense of urgency. I felt the chaos. I felt the, oh my gosh, what must that do to a child?
Welcome to Living in 3D Power. Discover your truth, discern your path, determine your power. I'm Dr. Amber Sessoms, and together, let's unlock our power, build authentic connections, and foster collective liberation. Hey y'all, welcome back to Living in 3D Power. We have reached episode 12, and before we get into today's conversation, I want to start with a moment that caught me off guard in the best way. On last week's episode, I asked Emma, what does freedom mean to you? And without hesitation, she said it means to not be controlled. And when I asked who was controlling her, she pointed to me and she said, you're my mommy. So, okay, that moment was playful, yes, but also profound. Kids see the world so clearly. They name power dynamics without flinching. They speak truth with a kind of sacred simplicity that adults often forget. And it made me reflect on a phrase we've all heard growing up, stay in a child's place. But what if a child's place was exactly where truth lives? So when I step into organizations, one of the top things I hear from the staff is, I feel disrespected, I don't feel valued, and I've noticed something leaders often unknowingly mimic, an authoritarian, hierarchical style of leadership that mirrors the very parent-child dynamic many of us grew up with. And you have this expertise, you have these skills, you have all this that you bring to the workforce, and yet you're perceived as a child. And it's the proverbial stay in a child's place mindset that happens in the workplace. So today's episode is a reimagining. Emma and I explore what happens when we honor children's honesty, their big questions, their unfiltered wisdom, and what it would mean to bring more of that energy into our leadership, our parenting, and our workplace. You'll hear us giggle about messy rooms, confront bedtime injustice, and even talk about skincare scandals. But you'll also hear something deeper, the tension between structure and freedom, discipline and dignity, and control and curiosity. This is one that's full of joy, reflection, and that sacred spark of childhood we all need to remember. I hope you enjoy our conversation.
It's me, it's me, it's me. It's me, it's me, it's me. Hey, it's me, Emma. Welcome back to Living in 3D Power, and today we are going to be talking about staying in a child's place.
Now, what y'all don't know is that took Emma about 3 or 4 takes to get that phrase, staying in a child's place. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you if you've heard that phrase. And clearly from you having to say it for 4 takes, you haven't. But I want to come back to that because what brought this up for me was last week when we were talking about imagination and freedom dreaming. And I asked you, what does freedom mean to you? And you said freedom means not being controlled. And I said, well, who's controlling you? You remember what you did? You just reached over across the chair and pointed at my knee. And I was like, I'm controlling you? So tell me more about that when I said freedom means not being controlled. And you said that I'm controlling you. So what were you feeling or thinking in that moment?
I was thinking of the times when you told me what to do. Like clean my room today.
Yes. And how'd that make you feel? So thinking about the times making you do things or telling you to do things that you don't necessarily want to do.
I did not like it. I was like, why? I turned into one of those things at a car where you go like this. It goes like that.
Those balloon things, those tall things
like,
that fan blows through them.
why?
And did you figure out the answer to why?
Because I didn't want to do it.
No, but why did I ask you to clean your room?
Because it was messy.
Yes.
You said you could barely walk in it, but I could. It's because I have smaller feet than you.
Because you have smaller feet. That's your rationale. Or is
And I'm
it
smaller.
that every season changes? If it gets a little bit warm, you have to go into the reserves and pull out your warmer clothes or your summer clothes, and then you just throw them everywhere.
Yeah, it's the thing. This weather is making my room messy.
Oh, it's the weather doing it, not
It's because-
Emma.
Yeah. It's not
The
funny.
weather's to blame.
Yes, it's because it's like cold, 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 then hot, then hot, then hot, then cold, hot, cold, hot. So I have to like get my chair, go up there, and then drop it down to wear shorts or something like that.
Or we could just rotate your clothes over so you could put more of your thicker winter clothes up top and move your stuff down so you don't constantly have to be climbing up in a chair to get in a bin.
I fell once.
Which is why I said not the best idea. You have adults who can help you with that. So to you, when you ask that question, you're like, oh, mom makes me do things I don't want to do. And what I'm not hearing is any accountability in, oh, yeah, my room is a mess and I should do a better job with it. My mom
It's
gave
a
me,
little bit. Just a little bit.
my mom gave me all the, organizational tools with the bins that had the labels on them. But this weather has my room a mess. Okay.
It's the weather.
Yes,
the weather.
it's the weather. It's not anything else.
It's not me. It's the weather.
It's global warming. It can't be consistent what the temperature is going to be. Listen, okay, if that's what you want to think. So, we always have these questions, but that was the first thing that came to mind, and it made me really think about what could we talk about this episode, because that just,
I know.
that made me laugh because you're like, you control me.
Yes.
And it made me think, because I've seen a lot of videos in recent months about people probably my age that are talking about when they were young and how they were parented and how we are in a different generation and we're trying to parent differently. What was the eyebrow raise for there?
You're not much different from Graham.
Oh.
But at least your cooking's fresh. Not in a can.
Oh, Graham, she came at you. And for those of you who don't know, Emma is named after Graham. This is true. We talked about this the other day because she was like, I was like, Graham didn't make fresh vegetables. I mean, we had them out of a can. I was like, you never had, she's like, asparagus growing up? I said, no, we had no fresh asparagus. We had succotash frozen, not even out of a can, okay? Terrible.
Succotash. What is
Succotash
that?
is like lima beans, corn, green beans, carrots. It's probably good if it's made fresh.
Yeah, but frozen.
Frozen in a microwave.
Microwave, no.
That's how I grew up, y'all. That's part of the parenting. So, okay, so you're saying I parent the same way as grandma in terms of discipline, but the cooking is fresh.
Yeah.
So I will say,
The cooking's different, but the parenting is the same.
how's it the same?
I think it's the same because you guys always make me go to bed late.
I make you go to bed late?
I mean, not late. Oh, early.
Oh, well, there's a reason behind that, right?
Yeah.
What's the reason?
Epilepsy.
Well, the viewers can't hear you because you whispered.
My epilepsy.
Okay, that's going to be too loud, y'all. So Emma has epilepsy. She was diagnosed on her birthday,
Yay.
on her 5th birthday. She also says it was the best birthday she ever had. So
Yep.
shout out to anyone who works in children's hospitals when you have a medical emergency, because these people do an amazing job of making the children feel
The popsicles.
what Emma remembers. But they make the children feel like they're at home. There's no concerns. Even if the parents are freaking out, the kids are just having a good old time. So she says it was one of the best birthdays she's ever had. But one of the reasons that you have to go to sleep is because of your epilepsy. Mm-hmm. And if you don't get adequate sleep, that can activate a seizure. So there is a reason behind it. And also,
I just don't like it.
I get you don't like it because you feel like you're going to be missing out on things.
Yeah.
But also, you're 10 and you have to developmentally get enough sleep because your brain is still growing. I mean, your brain is still developing to the age of 25 and I think beyond now. We'll see what the research starts showing with COVID. I swear it has caused different delays in the technology, these devices, and how they impact your frontal lobe developing, your executive functioning. Kind of, it tells your brain, it keeps your brain organized. So there's reasoning behind it. It's not just because we're old and we're like, you have to get your sleep. It's because we know you're growing and your brain needs time to rest and grow and do all the things that it does. So, okay, I'll take that. But I will say generationally that we have been more intentional about trying to parent a little bit differently than our parents, really in terms of more physical punishment. Like old school Black parenting is like you gonna get a switch off the tree. Now, I never had that, y'all. But the switch off the tree, and you're going to get beat with a switch off the tree, like a stick off of the tree. Or you get a belt. We used to get beat with belts.
Belts?
Or we were still, when I was in elementary school, you could still get paddled in school.
With the
wooden paddle. And if you had one, they would put holes in it. Our phys ed teacher had drilled holes in his so that the air wouldn't cause a delay and you could really whack someone really good. So they stopped that because they consider that, and it is child abuse, a form of child abuse. So this is how I grew up in my generation. So this is 80s, they're still paddling kids in school. So you don't have that form of discipline and punishment. So we're in a different day and age where we're not saying go get the belt or go get the paddle and you standing at the kitchen table with your pants down getting paddled. So be thankful for that. But I will say, I kind of get what you mean about this idea of you're telling me what to do and these things that I don't want to do. And what it really makes me think of is how you started out, even though you had to say take 4 or take 3 about staying in a child's place, because that's also something we heard a lot growing up. As kids, adults would say to us, if we were intruding or getting into an adult conversation, they would say, stay in a child's place. Or if we would try to talk when they said we didn't have any business talking or we had a question or anything that they didn't want us to say or be involved in, they would say, stay in a child's place. So when you hear that phrase, what does that mean to you? Stay in a child's place.
It means don't be in adult business and stay a child.
And what does stay a child mean?
Play, have fun, color, play with Play-Doh.
Yeah. And then that kind of goes into last week when we were talking about play and imagination and how you said adults lose that because we have to be so serious. So when adults are saying stay in a child's place, you're saying all the things that I think make people happy and joyful. It's like play, have fun, be joyful. So when you're saying stay out of grown folks' business, stay out of adult business, what makes it adult business?
Big things.
Big things, like, can you think of an example?
Secrets.
Secrets make it a big thing. So Emma is one that we struggle with telling secrets because we can break you, especially when you were little. If we told you a secret, if daddy had a surprise or something, it'd be very easy to get you to break it. It'd be like, I'm not supposed to tell.
But now
what? You don't do it now because you're grown?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. You're going to keep the secrets now? Mm-hmm. Okay. We'll see about that.
Okay.
So when I think about this whole idea of staying in a child's place and how you say these are big ideas or big secrets, one of the things that I notice that you do, if Daddy and I are trying to have a private conversation or if we're trying to talk to one of your sisters, who is right there trying to be all in the conversation? Ear hustling with the best of them.
I'm waiting at the door.
Waiting at the door. You probably got, I'm not even going to tell you the secrets to even hearing it better because you would probably go do it instantly. But you're trying to ear hustle being nosy, or would you say you're being curious?
Curious.
That's nosy, y'all. So there's a fine line between being nosy and intruding in someone's private conversation and just being curious. I wonder what they're talking about. Or maybe I can follow up and ask some questions. What was going on? Because you do that.
I'm taking my curiousness up to another level by listening.
Wow. Y'all, she got something for everything today. She got something for why she doesn't clean her room because of global warming. She got something for why she's nosy. It's not really being nosy. It's now she's getting to this euphemisms. It's that she's taking her curiosity to another level of listening. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? This seems to be working for you today. We're just going to figure out or finagle a way to make it work for you and the way that you see it. So that makes a lot of sense in terms of staying in a child's place. But I want you to think about that. So staying in a child's place to you is have fun, play with Play-Doh, do all the things that kids are supposed to do.
Go on slides.
Go on slides, because you hear this from even your sisters, even JoJo, who's going to be 22, is kid, like stay a kid as long as possible. Or I'll even say that to you because you're wanting to wear makeup, you want to do all these things that you have no business doing.
All I put on is blush and highlighter.
That's still makeup.
I know, but at least I'm not doing 15 steps of skincare.
But you're 10. Like, we don't need that.
I know.
I keep saying, this is why we had a conversation in her third grade class when the kids in the class talked about they wear full face makeup. I said, what?
I told my friends, like, why are you wearing so much makeup? Their face was literally sparkling. I was like, oh, wow, you look so pretty today.
But here's the thing, that I think that's part of staying in a child's place is not necessarily stay out of grown folks' conversations, but it's also
acting like an adult.
Yeah, but you're trying to grow up. I see you want to emulate us. You see people wearing makeup and doing certain things, and you're like, I want to do that. But you realize adults, especially when it comes to skincare, the reason why we do all this stuff to our skin and people are getting Botox and all the things that make their face not have wrinkles is because we want skin like yours. And y'all are steady over here at 10 trying to be grown. And I'm like, y'all better stay with that 10-year-old skin and rock out that 10-year-old skin.
My skin was pretty bad at one point because I was in JoJo's stuff.
Oh, wait, she's telling herself. So, yes, because Emma's curiosity went up a level, there was no listening in that because we said, get out of your sister's face care products. She was using face care products that were not made for children. Next thing you know, Emma's face is like, what is going on with your face? It's peeling. It's splotchy. She has bumps on her face. She was sneaking and messing with her sister's face products.
But now I have my own.
So was there a lesson in there, though, to not use it?
Because I did not like it. I was like, I don't like it. But now my face looks better.
So I guess this is a new age parenting thing, is that had we been old school parents, you would just got whooped for doing that. New age parenting is like, how can we... What behavior can we talk? Can we problem solve what the real issue is and figure out a solution? And the issue is you have two sisters that are way older than you, 12 and 6 years older than you, and you're trying to be like them, which there's nothing wrong with that to a degree. We get that. But it's also, how do we stop you from using the products? Because you were having a very hard time listening. You also can be very impulsive. This is part of what happens at being a kid. So we decided to get you your own safe children's skincare products. Yes.
I like their products.
She's giving a plug for Honest, but we found a better brand.
Not sponsored.
Not unless you want to be sponsored, y'all. We welcome that. So yes, so there's workarounds and there's different ways to parent, but it makes me think of these rules that we try to put in place because we've been there. We know. Mm-hmm. I knew those products were going to harm your skin. You had to find out the hard way. So you learned a lesson the hard way about, if you just listen to mom, if you just listen to your sisters, you wouldn't have had your skin all messed up. So I think there are times, often, almost always, times that you should listen to us because we've been here, done that. We do know some things.
Yeah.
Right? So it makes me think of the other question I want to ask you from our list here is, what would it be like if kids made the rules for one day? Here she goes with this. I don't even know what that is.
We wouldn't have school.
First thing you would take away is school? I mean, this is your day. This is like that movie Yes Day.
Yeah.
I mean, rules for one day. Okay, one day's fair enough.
No school.
No school. Why no school?
Because a lot of people don't like going to school because they have to wake up. We don't like waking up early. As soon
Wait till you get to middle school and high school.
Yeah. As soon as we get up to go to school, we have to walk to the bus stop or get into our parents' car. And then we go to school, and then we're just tired. We're on our computers. We're like, And then we have to get up. Gotta get up. Get up from our chairs after we're tired. And we're literally on our computers like this.
Like
going
zombies.
Like this. Yes. And we have to stand up to do like our song and the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we sit back down. And then by the time we sit back down, we have to go back. We have to go to special. And then when we come to special, we have like 8 minutes to eat our snacks. And there's a lot more. So no school. Then we probably have no parents. I'm sorry.
No school, no parents. So it sounds like no adults or just no parents.
No adults.
Wow. Okay. Kids rule for one day. No school, no parents, no adults. Why no adults? Why no parents, no adults?
Because we're gonna do some crazy things.
Like what?
Have sleepovers.
You think that's wild? A sleepover is something wild to do? Why?
Because you said no sleepovers.
Well, this is a rule that I have.
Yeah, because you said there's some weird people out there that will hurt kids.
Listen, I have plenty of friends that agree with me on this. This can be cultural, this can be situational, but I have been very particular with all of you about when is it appropriate or when can you go for a sleepover, but I need to know these people well. I need to make sure that you can advocate for yourself or know if someone's trying to groom you, which means someone's trying to harm you in a way that's inappropriate. So all of those things I need to know, and I need to know that you would be safe. So
I'll get my iPad.
Listen, I still say you are too young.
Yeah.
So I know we've talked about that you can have a sleepover with a cousin over here, but you're not going to someone else's house and sleep over. I remember Emma or you're Emma, Lord. How many of y'all got more than one kid and you confuse the kids' names? I think it gets
Even
really
the
bad
dogs.
at 3. Sometimes they get called the dogs' names for sure. But I remember Maya and JoJo getting upset when there would be a sleepover. I said, well, you can go and I'll pick you up late because I still wasn't okay with that. So I get why you're like, we were going to have a sleepover because you don't let me have sleepovers. So that's a big thing that you really want to do because you've been talking about that a lot. So anything else you would do if you had to rule for a day, kids could rule for a day?
Eat candy.
Why eat candy?
No, like a lot. But then we brush our teeth because we don't want all that gunk in our teeth. No.
So you would follow at least that rule?
Yeah. Well, that's a rule. That's a rule. Like, who wants cavities? Like, who wants gold and silver things in their teeth? Like, no.
There's lots of people that don't brush their teeth.
I have some
regularly.
friends. I have some friends that have cavities, and I'm like,
okay, let's be real. Am I still reminding you sometimes to brush your teeth?
yeah.
Because I'm trying to prevent the very thing that you're talking about. Don't want you to have cavities. I'm like, you almost got all your adult teeth. These are the only ones you're going to get. You got to take care of them.
No, I have like
Plus, I said you almost have all of your adult teeth.
I have 3 left.
3 baby teeth left. You're getting there. So another reminder that you're still a child. Your teeth let you know, I'm still not grown. I still got baby teeth in my mouth. Okay, so the next question I have for you is, do you feel like grown-ups always listen to kids? Why or why not?
No.
Did I even need to ask why or why not?
No.
Why don't you feel that way?
Because they think we don't know anything.
You think that's true? Adults think that children don't know anything.
Some.
Okay. Talk more about that.
It's like the people that think they're better than us, and they think they're better than like everyone, even babies.
Oh my goodness. So there are adults that think that they're better than everyone because why? Why do you think they feel that way?
Because they have more money or something like that.
Oh, I almost feel like you're talking about rich people or capitalism or American society or our political leaders.
Maybe.
There's a big, yeah. So I think some of that is what I'm asking about. Do you think adults always listen? I feel like you went straight to the administration, which is fair enough. So thinking about that, adults always listening. I remember you saying a couple episodes ago, one of the greatest or the biggest thing that leaders need to have is listening skills. So
open those ears.
I feel like there's a connection here you're making between being grown and being a leader. And one of the things that I'm always really saying is leadership doesn't have an age. I'm learning from you daily, even in these conversations and just living with you and raising you, that I'm growing into a better person because you're a mirror to me. But, oh, yes, we know. But thinking about you are making this connection between being a grown-up and being a leader, because I think there is a tremendous responsibility, as you said last week, when you become an adult, you have to be serious. So I think there is
because you got a lot of things to do.
We got a lot of things to do.
A job, pay bills, have a house maybe. I'm not getting a house until I'm like 30.
Where are you staying?
I'm living with my friends.
Oh, okay. Y'all just going to have an apartment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, until I'm like 28 or until I decide that I want to get a house.
As long as you said you're not going to be here at 30.
That's probably going to be JoJo. Hey!
This kid. She has jokes, y'all. So thinking about
9 more years?
No. No and no, y'all.
She better be out on her
No
birthday.
and no, y'all. So thinking about this kid has jokes today. And I'm not sure if I think that's funny. All right, so next question really goes into thinking about adults and listening and not listening. And we have been watching this show, y'all, and you're going to be probably maybe surprised. Tell them a little bit about the show. What's the name of the show?
It's called Anne with an E. It's about this girl named Anne with an E. It's spelled A-N-N-E. And she was a orphan, and then she moved to this place. It's called
King Gables.
Green Gables.
So it's based off of a book or a novel series. I'm not sure. I've never read it, but Anne of Green Gables. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what happened? So she moves to Green Gables.
Yeah, and the first episode, which is literally like an hour.
That's why I was like, I don't think we can watch another one. No, it was over an hour, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like
an hour, 20 minutes or so, or 90 minutes, yes.
And they were, this guy named Matthew and his sister were going to adopt a boy so that he could do farm work, but it was actually a girl. But I'm not going to spoil it.
Oh, you're not going to spoil it. So y'all might be really familiar with this. I thought that Daddy told me to watch this show, and then I'm like, he's like, why would I tell you to watch this show? But I think this is also where you've got your fascination for those 18th century dresses, because that's the time periods. And remember when she goes
and reading about the American Revolution.
Okay, so it just all happened around the same time. Yeah. But we're now on season 2. We've been binging it a little bit.
Just a little bit.
The episodes are now 45 minutes. That's more doable.
Yeah.
But the episodes we were watching last night, you were sitting here talking to the TV, getting all mad. What were you getting mad about?
So these bad guys, they were pretending to be people that they were not. And they said, oh, there's gold, there's gold, there's gold. There's definitely gold.
So that time period being that big gold rush.
Yep. And Anne went to this guy. His name was Mr. False. And she figured out that those 2 guys were faking. And they've been living with them for a month, I think, or like a couple weeks. And I think it was a month, yeah. And she was she was putting all the puzzle pieces together because this guy, he had the emo haircut, but less pointy.
Okay.
And he was like, there's gold. And I don't know.
Remember you were getting all mad because she has a wild imagination and she started creating stories about ghosts. And what did you say? Because I wasn't even necessarily picking up on this, but you were very insightful here.
That guy called her Minnie or something like that.
Something like that. Some term to say that she was a child. Yeah. Almost like stay in a child's place or you're too young. This is grown folks' business.
Yeah. And then she got so mad. And then she created these scary stories to prove that she was like adult and stuff. And then
what happened though?
She scared herself.
So I think that was such a great way to narrate what you're talking about.
Yeah, and her one friend started crying because of how scary it was. She was like, but that girl always cries.
She does always cry.
She
does. Some people just, they're more emotional people or they have easier access to their emotions. But I think that was a really cool connection that you made because you were like, she's trying to be grown. Emma's mocking me because I'm using my hands. But you made that connection, and I wasn't necessarily picking up on that.
You're like, wow.
No, but I love when you make those connections, when you can see that from your vantage point, which is why I always say that we as adults don't have all the answers, that children also have the answers. But because you look up to adults, you're living your life and trying to aspire to be us in a lot of ways. And that could be detrimental because he wasn't a good person. Yeah, right? And you kept saying, why does she like him? So you knew that because he still wasn't being kind and being nice. But I think, again, to the point of Anne with the E, that part of Anne of Green Gables, there are so many lessons in there.
There's a movie about it.
Oh, we'll have to see the movie if you can see it. Okay, we'll have to check that out. I'm not sure about that. Maybe Graham knows something about that. Maybe you can watch.
It was in 89.
Okay, so when I didn't know how old. When you said old, I'm thinking from my vantage point, old is like Graham's time.
60s.
And you're saying when I was a kid is old. Wow.
Not
talking about, that's a smack in the face.
Not.
But that makes sense because I went back to my mother, you went to your mother, so I'm officially old compared to you, but that's fine. Okay.
Okay, you don't look old. You look 28.
I'll process. Yes, thank you. We've established that. Thank you. So even thinking about that show, how do you think she's treated on the show?
She is treated unfairly because Go
ahead.
I'm going to spoil it so bad. But in the second or first episode, this nosy neighbor came and she was sitting down. And then Anne walked in, and then she said some rude things about her. She was like, oh, look at you. You're so skinny and red-headed and freckled. And then she yelled at her, and she said something about her being fat.
Anne did.
Anne did.
She got really upset because the woman attacked her, I think.
Yeah, and then she ran off. That's what she always does when she gets angry. She just runs. She's just like...
So what do you think about that, though, when that woman was really rude to her as an adult and she said those negative things? And not only did she say negative things about her, she really hit her at the core of some of her insecurities about what she's been told her whole life.
Yeah, because in the third episode, she prayed about having no freckles or different color hair. And I was like, I wish I had freckles.
Yeah, and I know that's something we talked about is, do you like the way that you look or would you want to look like someone else? And you're very confident in how you look. But thinking about if someone zeroes in, this is an adult, that and our charge is to care for children, and this adult, this stranger, she's in this new environment, she was adopted by this family, and this lady attacks her the minute she sees her. And do you think it was right for Anne to clap back at her?
Yes.
Oh, you do think it was okay?
Because if she said something about her and she didn't even know her, then you got to say something back.
Oh,
you can't just let that slide.
It's a tit for tat then?
Yeah, but not with you.
Wait.
But not with you, because I know I would lose. Badly. And I'll get in trouble.
How would you lose?
So let's say you said something about like you're so dramatic, like you never seen that before. You're so dramatic.
Aaron even said that about you earlier. We went to visit our friend. You're so dramatic. I mean, y'all won't be able to tell at all by this episode. So say, for instance, I say that, Emma, you're so dramatic. So are we acting this out? What's the thing that you're going to say next? Because you said you would lose this. So what would happen next?
At least I have more hair than you.
Oh. So you would just clap back and it was like I don't know, because I feel like I don't have anything else. Like that's good. This is by choice though, that I shaved my head this way. So that's the thing that you're talking about, like, oh, if I came at you, you're going to come at me. And she did do that. And I think, so I get what you're saying. And I think this is a hard part about staying in a child's place, because what happened after that? Right. That lady was like, she needs to apologize, or you need to get rid of her and all that stuff.
Yeah. And Anne was like, I don't want to. She's rude and all that stuff. But she pretended to say she was sorry. And she was very dramatic.
Very dramatic with it.
She was like, I'm so sorry.
And I think the part, this is where I could see that we would have to have these conversations, is that you would be like, but it's not right and it's not fair and I'm not going to apologize because they were super rude to me, is where you need a parent or a caregiver or an adult to step in, because we are supposed to protect you. And for you to have to handle that battle on your own is unfair. So if that would have went down in my presence, that friend would have got checked.
You would have been like, why'd you say that to my daughter?
Right. And I think that's the thing, that this woman didn't protect her child because she was new. She didn't have that instinct. I don't think she knew what to do because the child didn't stay in her place. And if you've ever seen a child that will snap back, you're like, ooh, because we grew up in a generation that you dare not say a word. And we couldn't even ask a question. And I'm a curious person, so I would always ask questions, and I would get in trouble for asking questions. Yeah. But sometimes I'd be very direct and be like, that's wrong. That's not okay, or I'm not doing that. And I would get in trouble for that. So I think you have a lot of mama in you. And what I'm trying to do is honor your intuition, honor your gut, honor your truth, and honor your ability to advocate for yourself in a way that's not being disrespectful, but it's also saying that I'm a human being and I deserve respect. And then if that were to happen in front of me, then I would have to handle that adult that caused you harm, because that's not okay. So I think there is a level in this whole idea of, as we're learning this new age parenting and seeing that you have so much voice and we want to amplify your voice and honor your truth, that we have to find a way to do it in a way that doesn't make you think that you can just spit off and say anything to anyone.
Yeah,
and be disrespectful.
Definitely not.
But if someone is coming at you, do you go get an adult? Do you say that's not right? And I can think of a very recent example where your friend's mom texts me and she goes, I'm checking on Emma because she was really upset on the bus. And I didn't even know about it. So by the time I saw the message, you had already been asleep. And the mom gave me more information in the morning. And when I asked you about it, the situation was that you were helping a peer and your teacher said to you,
it's none of your business.
She got upset with you because you were helping a peer during, what is it, like just one-on-one or independent seat work time?
It was at dismissal.
Okay, so she said it's none of your business. You were trying to help a peer that was struggling with reading or writing?
No, writing.
Something like that. And that hurt your feelings because?
I like to help people, and I don't like to see people stressed or struggled.
And that's very core to who you are. So when I was talking to you about that, I said, why didn't you say anything to the teacher?
I didn't want to get in trouble.
You didn't want to get in trouble. And I think that's the hard part, where we're in these situations where we pick and choose. But I think you were so sad that she said something like that to you.
Yeah, I cried.
Right. And then, I don't know, you forgot to tell me? I don't know what happened.
No, I just didn't want to.
You did? Oh, wait. Tell the people, this is true. I remember now. I said, why didn't you tell me? And what was your response?
I didn't want to get my teacher in trouble.
Because what'd you think I was going to do?
Tell her off and be like, why'd you say that to my baby? Oh my gosh, that's so disrespectful. She was just trying to help him. Oh my gosh.
Y'all, not only did she say she was afraid to tell me because she didn't want me to go up on a teacher, but she mocked me with the finger wag and like traditional black mama tone. Wow. Okay. I see how you see me. She was scared. That's how I talk. You almost made me sound like a mammy. What was that?
Oh my gosh.
That was like Proud Family grandma or something. Oh my gosh. But here's the thing that we had to talk about is that you need to be able to find your voice and be able to also tell me these things. You can't keep those things to yourself.
I just nodded. I was just like,
Yeah.
I was just so sad. I felt like if I talked, I would cry.
I get you. And sometimes like you were just trying to monitor your emotions. It was the end of the day. I get all of that.
Yeah,
but I think it's
my
important
lip
to be
was
able
quivering.
I think it's, lip was quivering. I think it's important to process those things and figure out if that happens again, what could you do in the next situation?
Tell you.
Yeah. And then I won't come in there wagging my finger. Well, no, whatever you made me sound like.
Oh my gosh, why'd you say that to my baby? She didn't even do anything. She was just trying to help him. Oh my gosh.
Y'all, if you're not watching this, at least watch this one because the way she's mocking me, my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so the next question I have, kind of along those lines of thinking about why didn't you ask her a question? It's why do you think some adults are uncomfortable when kids ask big questions?
Like, what do you mean? Like, what type of question?
I mean, it could be any question. Sometimes questions about puberty or you eavesdropping or ear hustling and hearing something you had no business hearing, a private conversation. They said, what does that mean? Or you can ask a question about, did so-and-so get in trouble? What happened? Any big question that you might think is adult level conversation, that would be something that you couldn't watch on TV.
Remember that one time we went over to Uncle Mel's house?
Oh. See, very good example, because last week, if y'all were listening, I talked about my brother Avery, and Emma reminds me a lot of him and her personality at times because they are hilarious and they have very big gestures and a lot of gravitas or drama. See? And Uncle Avery was saying some inappropriate things.
Yeah.
And so in real time, we had to have a real conversation with you because here's what happens with curiosity in kids. So if it was from my generation, what he said, which we will not repeat, you would have been told, stay in a child's place. Don't worry about none of your business. But because I'm trying to honor your curiosity and because he said something he shouldn't have said, we had to have a real conversation about what does that mean in a very age-appropriate way. And do you remember everyone looking and being like, how are we going to address this question? Like, so that's why people get uncomfortable, because we're trying to say it in a way because kids are so curious.
Yeah,
and can we say it in a way that answers the question enough so that you stop thinking about it, or you say, oh, okay, now I get it. And not in a way.
I forgot what he said.
Right. But also not in a way that's going to make you more curious or just taint your youthfulness. So it is this fine balance that we have to do. I actually forgot about that. But that was ridiculous.
How
and I
did
was
you
like,
forget
why
about
would
that?
you say that out of your mouth? Because
like,
this kid is going to ask me.
You're like, you looked at him and
we all did. But because I honor your curiosity and because he said the thing, we had to then address the thing.
Yeah.
And then also, Uncle Avery, because you said the thing, you going to address this thing and explain it to your niece. Yeah, that was
interesting.
It was, but that's a good example, Emma. And too bad I can't tell you what he said because we would try to have to change the rating of this show
to PG-13.
I don't
14.
Even, maybe.
15.
Yes.
Mature.
Mature. Yes. So last question is, what's something you wish adults would stop doing so kids could feel more free?
Have a little bit of control, but not like all of it, because you guys are like, oh, you have to do this now and that later, and then do all of this now, and then all that stuff. But give us like one thing at a time, or we'll be like.
And I'm making this connection as you're saying this, and you put it together for me, because as you're saying and mocking again, was that also my voice, or was that Daddy's voice? Whose voice was that? You need to do this now. Whose voice was that?
It was just
A general adult voice.
Yeah.
But as you were saying this thing, I felt the sense of urgency. I felt the chaos. I felt the, oh my gosh, what must that do to a child? And here's the connection again, becoming an adult. This is literally the world that we live in. Everything is like, has to be done yesterday. It has to be quick. I need it now.
Homework.
All of it.
Homework makes me stress.
And so that's your equivalent to our work day. And I think what you're saying is what adults need to recognize is that we have this sense of urgency that we are operating under, capitalism, all the things that we have to have stuff done, that we're then putting that on you as children. And you're like, y'all need to chill. Like, can I still be a kid? So there's this balance of being
Peace.
I can't put that peace and love. We can't put that on children, but also how do we release some of that stress off of ourselves? Because also in that Anne episode, remember when the mom was snapping at everyone because her and the husband were arguing?
Yeah.
So it made me think about, if we're stressing our own lives, that if we don't handle that, that will ripple effect to the family.
Yeah, she was like, I don't like that color.
So,
I need more.
Right, so that's work.
It looks terrible.
So if that's work, and work is putting this pressure on us, and we don't find ways to release that stress, that valve, I think the pressure cooker, steam comes off, what is going to happen is then we're going to bring that to you.
Yes.
And we're going to think that you have to have the same demands, and then we forget about you being a child.
It's going to come all together and then explode.
Right. And I think about that even with your teacher when I said, oh, you have to finish these assignments. You were super behind on these online assignments.
But now I have one left.
You only have one left. You caught up. But the teacher was like, no, you told me this. She was going to remove some of those assignments. And I said, absolutely not. She's going to complete them all. And I think part of that was twofold. It was like, we have to work hard. I don't want things to be easy for you. But there is this sense of, are we putting too much on you? And she didn't want to overload you with the work. And I said, we can find ways to chunk it so you can do it, which is also what you were saying. Give me one part at a time. So I think maybe what's happening in school sometimes.
I have one left.
You have one left. And it took you a little bit longer, but that's okay. And I think what you were saying earlier about school, that you would get rid of school if you had a day, is because you were describing school and it didn't sound great.
Nope.
You're like, we have to do this, and then we have to get up, we have to do this. Is that you're boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, it's just
all
fast,
day.
fast.
It's fast paced.
Fast.
And it's making me think about my friend Heather and her husband Ermias came back from Thailand. They were there for 3 years, and now they have a 1-year-old baby with them. And we were asking, what is the thing you miss most? And the thing that Ermias said was that he misses the slower pace. And being back in the States, everything is boom, 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 like you're saying. So I think that's the biggest takeaway for me in talking to you, is that how do we find ways?
We only get one time a piece.
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day. End of the day.
How do we build that peace throughout and sustain it throughout the day, not just you have it for a second? Or in adulthood, would I ask people?
In the morning, fast. In the afternoon, fast. And then a little chunk of the time, not so fast.
Yeah. And I relate that to adulthood, because I think about one of the questions I ask my clients is, we do this needs assessment. What are the things that you need? And play is on there. And they are always surprised by that. They're like, play? I'm like, yes. We don't just need that when we're children.
That's why I like to play with you guys.
Right. And then, but we get so big, we think that, oh, I don't have time for that. I get silly. So when I ask adults that question, I will never forget this one lady saying to me, the only time she doesn't have a headache is when she's on vacation. Or that is always the one that people often struggle with, is play, because they're so busy doing all the other things that they think they need to do, and they don't ever see play and ease and rest is something that you need as a human being. And you are saying that at 10 years old, that we are creating a system that you're already like, boom, 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 boom. And we have this one little time period where we have a break. And unfortunately, I don't think it gets any less in life. You have recess in elementary school. By the time you get to middle school, you don't have any of that.
Yeah, it's because you have more things to do. And you have
Keep piling more on.
Yeah, you have to go to like classes. You have to, it's like, sit down, go to your next class, sit down, go to your next class, and then over and over again until it's lunch.
Yeah, so I think that's really important. So I hope our listeners are really getting a sense of reflecting on their everyday life and how much they're boom, 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 boom into the work, and they're not ever taking a break. And we should be doing that multiple times throughout the day, not just when we go on vacation once a year. How do we build in ease and rest into our life? So I think
Take
that is
time off.
Take time off.
Play with kids.
Play with kids. So take time off, play with kids.
With your kids.
With your kids.
Your kids.
Okay, so not everyone has children.
Yeah. And it's okay.
Yes. And then any other chicken nugget, take time off, play with your kids.
And have fun.
And have fun. Play. Let's access play more.
Play.
So I think that is really important. And slow down.
Oh. Okay.
And with that, Emma lost her mic. So thanks for tuning in, y'all.
Bye.
I keep thinking about the moment when Emma said, "Give us one thing at a time." It's such a simple request, but what if it's also a blueprint for healing? Kids remind us to slow down, to play, to say what we mean. They show us that emotional honesty is not immaturity, it's clarity. And I wonder how often we mistake control for care, especially in our leadership. We build systems at home, at work, in schools that reward silence over expression, obedience over curiosity. And then we wonder why we're burnt out, disconnected, numb. The truth is, many organizations are operating under a dynamic that says, you're here to do what I say, stay in your place. It's no wonder employees disengage. No one thrives in a space where dignity is optional. And Emma reminded me that staying in a child's place, when reimagined, isn't about silence or submission. It's about awe, wonder, trust. It's about holding space for joy and boundaries to coexist. So here's your invitation. Ask a child what freedom means to them. Really listen. Create a moment in your week for imagination, just one moment. And if you're a leader, ask, what would it look like to build a culture that encourages curiosity, not just compliance? Because staying in a child's place might just be the most sacred place of all. Now, if this episode moved you, inspired you, or made you laugh, make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen and leave a comment or review. Join my Substack for my weekend roundup newsletter, where I go deeper into our conversations and how they help me make meaning from our current events. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch full episodes and shorts. And lastly, share this with someone who needs a little more wonder this week. Until next time, I hope you honor the work of discovering your truth, discerning your path, and determining your power. Take care.